Hello, good evening. My name is Claire and this is my colleague Kathryn. And we are both experienced secondary school teachers who now work for Enabling Enterprise. Our mission is really simple. We want all children to have the skills, experiences and aspirations to succeed. And we do this by having a skills-based focus. We explicitly teach skills such as teamwork, leadership, communication skills, problem-solving and creative thinking, aspiration and staying positive. We do this by working with schools in the curriculum, by taking students out to business trips, but we also think that every teacher can do this in their classroom. And we've got some free resources that we'd like to share with you to give you the opportunity to use these with your students tomorrow in your classroom.
Okay, so what we really want to focus on today is staying positive, one of our 8 core enterprise skills. I want to start off with a quick challenge. I'm going to give you a minute to do this, 30 seconds now and 30 seconds at the end when the answer is revealed. Either do it on paper if you'd like or just do it in your head. We know that staying positive is born from putting students in challenging situations, and it's our responsibility to bring those opportunities to them and then teach them how they maintain a positive mindset throughout to overcome a tricky situation or task. So I'd like to quickly ask you, 30 seconds now. You've got 5 triangles that you need to make, and you've got 9 matches. Quick as you can, 30 seconds. We'll devote it to our presentation. If I said on your own, to increase that challenge, on your own, pitch that challenge.
No cheating.
10 seconds gone. $20 seconds gone, 10 seconds left.
Got it over there.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. When putting this in the PowerPoint, I almost accepted that for a number of you, I've probably lost you now just to this mental thought over how that can be constructed. But we'll see if we can keep you with us. So, looking at what staying positive actually looks like, we can take it back to the 1970s and looking at the notion of hardness, or a person who's hardy. So we have 3 elements to that. This is a person who puts themselves in challenging situations but sees it as a lesson in which they learn something from it. It is not a problem to them. They commit themselves to goals. They set themselves targets that are aimed high and they work towards them, and they're not frightened of that pitch. And then third, we've got the sense of control. They do not concern themselves with situations that are out of their control, and they focus on things in life that they can control. And then we move on to probably what you've heard of, maybe a little bit more common, and we've got the growth mindset. Marries so perfectly with what was said in the 1970s, and we look at the idea that growth mindset is not discouraging failure whatsoever, striving to challenge yourself and staring at that and saying, yep, I can do it, and if I fail, do you know what, I'm learning from it. So equals up with what's been said before.
In 2002, Guy Claxton really brought the word resilience to the fore of schools. He said, do you know what? Children like a challenge, and you can create a climate where we accept that learning is hard, but that's okay. That's not something to be scared of. And he built on this in his 2015 book, Educating Ruby, which you've probably all heard of. And now, when you go to schools up and down the country, resilience is there. It's part of the aims, it's part of the mission statement of most schools. And even this year, Angela Duckworth has done some research, and she looked at people that succeed in all areas of life. And what did they all have in common? They all had in common that they accepted that it was hard, that it wasn't going to be easy. But the thing that really separated the successful people from those who were less successful was accepting that it was hard, but that was okay. She called it grit. It doesn't matter what word you use, it's all the same. Can you stay positive? Can you keep going, even when it's really hard?
And the key thing about that is being able to provide students with opportunities to do this. And here are 4 different ways in which you might want to do that. So looking at the first one, the notion of stay calm and what can be done. This is the idea of having 3 or 4 prepared scenarios for students, and then they have to consider what would they do if. The key about this is all about stretching them and putting it in their real kind of zone of challenge. So looking at a scenario, be it a professional scenario, put them in the workplace, be it a personal scenario, something at home, or something in the school context. It's entirely up to you. And asking them the question, what would happen if this happened? If it all went wrong, what would you do? How would you overcome that? How could you learn from it? And then moving on to another idea, it's getting harder. And this is the idea that you challenge students to create something using a set of resources and you give them success criteria. My suggestion to you would be start with what you think would be the minimum amount of resources they could use to create something. So start at the bottom line and then offer them maybe something midway up. And then what we suggest is take the resources away from them. So increase the challenge, and maybe as you reduce the amount of time that they've got, and see how they react in situations like that, and make them understand that it's okay to be in a position that doesn't feel great, because what we're going to do is make sure that we stay positive and then we learn from what's going on around us.
A really nice one. We've all heard students give up. We've all heard them say something negative when it's difficult. Well, just keep a note of those. And then take 5 minutes at the start of your lesson to hand out those comments and say to them, okay, how can we turn that round? How can we change that comment into something more positive? There's less about this is terrible and more about what we're going to do next. And what's really nice about that activity is it's them coming up with the vocabulary. You're not just saying to them, this is what you should do. They're doing it for themselves. And it really gets into that interesting question. Is it the challenge? Is it too difficult for you to overcome? Or is the barrier your mindset? Is the barrier the way that you see it? And another one that dovetails nicely with that is getting the students to do that for each other. So they have to say what their difficulty is, and the student has to say something positive back. Don't give them the answer. That's not what it's about. But give them some encouragement. Turn it round. This is the problem that you've got, but how are you going to tackle that? What can we do about it? And again, getting to think, sometimes it's really difficult to find that in yourself. Sometimes you really can't see the way out, and you do feel down in the dumps. But you've got friends, you've got people sitting next to you that can give you that support. So 2 activities, one which gets them thinking about it, and another which gets that peer-to-peer support about really how you can overcome those problems. So that's what we're doing at Enabling Enterprise. We're thinking of these little tasks that can get students really motivated. This is just a really short example of what we do. So, for example, our booklet on staying positive is 20 pages long. It's got lots of research in. It's got real in-depth activities like this that you can do, some of which are really quick, others which take a little bit longer. They're available for free on our website. We want you to use them. We want to see these being used in the classroom because we've seen the impact that it has. You've probably all heard of character education. It's a big part of the new agenda. Well, actually, we were really pleased when we read it because that's what we do. And if it's something you really believe in and something you're thinking, I want to do this, but I've got to get through my curriculum, well, actually, that little booklet can give you some really top tips on how you can really teach those skills, stay true to those things we all want as teachers, whilst also getting through your curriculum. And lastly, we want to share with you our skillsbuilder.org. Not only do we think that we know these skills can be taught, but also they can be measured as well, so students can see what's the next small step they need to take. And rather than just saying, go and be a leader, what are the steps they can take to get there? And if we can measure it and we can say to them, look how far you've come, how powerful that tool is, how positive that is for them.
Okay, so if you are interested, then obviously that's our details here. If you're interested in any more of the work that we do, then please feel free just to drop me an email or give me a call. And we've got the website on there that details more of what we do, and then obviously our Twitter handle. But thank you so much for listening to us today. We are so passionate about what we do, so thank you.
Thank you.